It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donovan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family, and welcome to yet another episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. I am Carol Riddick, one half of your dynamic duo, as we like to say. As many of you know, my partner in crime, Donovan West, is on hiatus, but he sends his love to each and every one of you, as he always does. You know, I tell you all the time. He reminds me. Tell them that I love them and I miss them. So I tell them you all don't miss him, though. No, I'm teasing. You know I'm a love bug. You know I'm teasing. In any event, with that being said, I am sending all of my love, all of my hugs. Well, not all of them, because I got to share, But love, hugs, and all of my prayers to those of you who need just some extra love today. I know that sometimes we often do. I send you love on the regular. I send it to you all the time. But today, for those who need some special love, whose light is just a little dim, I'm sending you some extra love and all my hugs and all that good stuff. Because I want the best for you. I tell you all the time, I love you, but God loves you more. So, family, I want to bring you up to speed. I want you to know that WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2023 Level Up Contest in partnership with WVON Chicago and KJLH Los Angeles. So this year, we're amplifying Black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. A big thanks to all of our nominees for joining us on this journey, because we had an overwhelming response to our call for nominations. So thank you. Tune in for a special edition of Solutions on WURD, hosted by Amadi Braxton on Friday, March 31st, starting at 5 p.m. for a live, on-air Level Up pitch party where the 5 Philly finalists will compete to win a marketing package valued at over $5,000. The winner will be selected by a panel of corporate sector judges. For more information, go to wordradio.com and click on the Level Up banner. Level Up 2023 is sponsored by Comcast, Pico, Keystone First, Bank of America, and Livelihood, and is supported by the African American Chamber of Commerce and the Business Center. Ooh, I know you're ready for that. I know you all are going to tune in, because I'm going to be tuned in as well. But in any event, we're going to keep it moving, because I'm so excited. Now, you remember, and if you don't, I'm going to bring you up to speed. We had tonight's guest on another show. She was just with us just a few days ago. And we were kikiing and we were chitting and chatting and chewing and all of that good stuff. And she began to tell us a prolific story. And we had to go. We had gotten cut off. And I told y'all, I said, listen, this is one of my good cookie girlfriends. Okay. And she said she would come back. So she is back. Oh, for those of you who are unaware, let me just tell you. She was born into a musical family. So, it was no surprise. Her father was legendary band leader Bobby Booker. So I'm telling you, it was natural that, performing would be in her blood and that it would be something to which she would cater. After college, she began a career as a noted background singer for several major acts, inclusive of Melba Moore, Bobby Brown, Evelyn Champagne King, and the list goes on and on. She was also a member of the singing group High Fashion. I know you remember, but her talent and her unique voice and personality on several early hip hop songs made a name for her in the industry. And it led to her being signed in the late 80s by Def Jam, Russell Simmons' renowned label. Let me tell you, she is the first lady of Def Jam. Do you hear me? The first lady of Def Jam. It doesn't get any better than that. Okay. You will remember her hits. I don't have to tell you, but the one that speaks to me most is Just Call My Name. Lord have mercy. Heavens to Murgatroyd. I'm going to stop talking with you because I know you want to see her. So without further ado, welcome my friend, ALYSON WILLIAMS. Hello, beautiful.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I cannot complain. You hear me? I cannot.
I just want to thank you for having me back so we could do part two
Yes,
of
part
our
deux.
interview. I couldn't believe how quickly an hour passed. And I felt that the listeners and the viewers needed to get the, complete and total word.
Agreed.
And let me also tell you, it does my heart good to hear someone say, heavens to Murgatroyd. Because only people of a certain age from a certain era are going to remember what that is. And when you said it, I about fell out my chair. I thought I was the only. My friends tease me all the time. They say, ALYSON, you have old school words. You're just full of old school. And I am. I'm an old school person. And so all of those little things, triggers and, little just sound bites from my past. And when I hear them, I just go, oh, she knows what that is.
It brings me joy. Heavens to Murgatroyd just brings me joy. You all kinds of memories like flash.
There you go, just floating around.
I love it.
But I can't complain either, Carol. I tell you, it's good to be back. Thank you, on a serious note, for having me back. And I'm coming to you, as I think I might have mentioned the last time. It just so happens that I had some downtime in terms of work, like a few weeks in a block of weeks off, which, thank God for the time when you're working and you're just going, oh God, if I could just get a moment. And then, you look around and you have a moment and you just try to accomplish as much as you can, because that's going to rev back up and then you'll be zooming through the airport again.
Yes.
Nonstop. So, but I come to you, low nails. And I say low nails, not no nails, because I've actually given my nail beds a chance to rejuvenate and grew a little nail just at the top. I get so proud when I see them. I know that they're weak and brittle and they're going to break off or I'm going to chew them. But just to have my own hand, very au naturel, no makeup, hair slicked back, just giving you this thing that I like to be when I get a chance to, where as artists, we know that we always have to pull it all the way. You
always have to be on. Well, let me tell you something. Family, can you see? You already see. This is why I love this woman. You hear me? This is her. This is her all the time. And what you see right now, isn't she beautiful? You're beautiful. You're stunning.
Thank you.
I tell you that. She is so beautiful. And as a matter of fact, she knows whenever we text, I say, hey, beautiful. I sure do.
Thank you. I always like to say, I've begun to look at myself and view myself from the inside out. I know what I looked like. I know, we'll never go back to what we once were. And I always look at a picture and go, oh my God, weren't we gorgeous? We were just glowing and we were being young and we were being what you are. But I don't think, I think I'm coming through my maturity pretty good. I always say, I know I'm no frog and I got a pretty good starter kit.
Listen, so wait a minute. I've got to put that in my pocket, a starter kit.
Hey, I'm no frog.
I have got to put that in my pocket. I got a pretty good starter kit, so I'm not complaining.
Got a pretty good starter kit. So whether we end up, I'm good. And I pick my battles. I try not to be too hard on myself because I know that there's nothing at all I can do but try to moisturize.
Do you hear me? You hear me? I'm learning that's so important to life.
And use the best products available. But you know what? Now, see, this is how we messed up last time and lost all that time because I was just gabba.
No, this is good stuff. Are you kidding? This is good stuff.
I remember, like I was telling you before we came into frame, I was trying to hold the thought in my head for more than a week, which I know I shouldn't try to hold the thought in my head for more than 30 minutes, ever.
Wait.
Sometimes just 15 minutes is like, what?
Wait, I'm going to hold it. But you know what, family? If you have just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. And we're talking with none other than ALYSON Williams, the ALYSON Williams. Yes, the one and only. And to what she is referring is when she was here last, she began telling us a story. And I had to cut her off. I'm so sorry. I had to cut her off because we had to go. We had no more time. You began telling us a story, and it involved Najee, and you guys had just begun working on a project. And I said, we got to go. And you said, no, but I got to tell you. So, family, that is to what she is referring. And look, guess what? She came back, didn't she? So she could
I came back
with us.
because I need you to know there's more than a story, but a testimony. And I tell everyone everywhere I go, because I think it's important that people realize that they're not alone in this struggle that we call life. And sometimes, we all have peaks and valleys and issues and things that we have to deal with. But God is a faithful God. And
Amen.
I will start telling you that when the pandemic hit, we were all shut down and trying to find ways to do what it is that we do. When we saw just a tiny little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, Najee had asked me to go into the studio with Chris Big Dog Davis. Shout out to Chris, and cover a song called Valentine Love. Now, Valentine Love was the first production from a man by the name of Mr. Norman Connors. It was written and performed by Mr. Michael Henderson, rest his soul, and he brought in Miss Jean Carn. All right, Philly, let's talk about it. And so when I mention these names, you'll know, once again, we in the old school realm. But Chris Big Dog Davis, in his just incomparable style, went in and flipped those chords around, and before you knew it, we had a new single, a new life being breathed or breathed into Valentine Love. But it sat because it was the pandemic and nobody could put out a record or do anything. 2021 came around, and at the end of the year, I had by that time I had moved from New York, escaped the great pandemic in that New York, in the New York incarnation, which to me was a really bad and unhealthy thing. And I was fine. I hadn't gotten ill. I had taken my shot. I was, working through it. The day after Christmas of 2021, I got very ill. Well, actually the week before, but I got ill, and I was sick enough to know that I needed to go to the hospital, and I was sick enough to know that I needed to go on an ambulance because I didn't want to sit in a hallway, and I wanted to get the most attention I could. So I needed what? Bright lights and sound. And
I know that's right.
I arrived at the hospital, and I had gone in and out of consciousness a couple of times, and I realized they told me that I did in fact have COVID, but the COVID was not their main worry because I had been inoculated. So they could get me through the COVID, but I have type 2 diabetes, and I try to be an advocate for all of us living with it to try to do the best that we can to manage it and to hopefully reverse and eradicate. But nonetheless, it turned to ketoacidosis, which is very dangerous, and they were very nervous about, how this was going to play out. Anyway, I ended up going into a coma for 6 days, and I stayed in a coma from December 27th until New Year's Day. I came back. I was on a ventilator. So many people called and prayed and put up videos and posted and just spoke to me on my phone and just left messages and just really, it's a testimony to the fact that prayer really does change things. And when we are on one accord, God has no choice but to reach in and do what he does best, which is to restore, renew, refresh, rebirth. And that's what he did. After I came back, it is a poignant kind of story of all the people that were calling and trying to get through, and they were saying they were family, and they were doing whatever they could. They wanted to get the update, and the ICU nurse, the COVID ICU nurse said, listen, she spoke to someone who had gotten through to the desk. Can y'all just let us do our job? We're trying to save her life. And they were calling. But one day, one of my advocates and my angel on earth, Valerie Simpson, called, and she said to the nurse, play her music in her ear. She said, go download this song called Just Call My Name. Play her music. She will hear you. She'll come back. And I promise you, Carol, that is exactly what happened. That woman downloaded that music. And at first, you know, the family gave her the rah-rahs. And I'm only telling you the story that I was told. She didn't get to do it the night of when they first told her. And so, you know, because she's the ICU nurse, COVID, right. She don't have time to go download. Her phone died and she didn't get a chance to. So she's just trying to get home, shower, get home, get back to the hospital. Well, they let her have it. Anyway, she did get the music downloaded. And I remember so clearly, they say that that some people, I'm sure it's different for everyone else, for every individual rather, that they can hear you when they're in a comatose state. And I could hear completely. I was completely awake and conscious and talking and trying to, like being behind a glass. My eyes were glass and I could see out. And the woman said, Miss Williams, do you know who this is singing? Do you know who's singing these words? Do you know? And I'm going, yes, of course I know who the hell it is. It's me. I'm ALYSON Williams. Do you know who it is? And have you all called anyone and let them know I'm in here? I need to get back home. You know, these are the things that are going on in my head. Meanwhile, I know that basically all I did was blink and kind of half smile.
Wow.
That's all I could, because that's all I could do. You know, I was just coming out of a state of comatose. But I could, all of that. I mean, and the funny thing is I come away from it knowing everything that I recall completely. And it is my intention to write it down.
Can I stop you there for one moment?
Sure.
I'm so stuck on the magnitude of what that, just being in that state. You said your eyes were like glass and you're in there and you knew.
I knew everything that was going on. I could see them working on me. I could hear them talking to me. I could, you know, I knew when I was asleep. I knew when I was awake.
Wow.
It was really a very surreal existence. And whatever it is that they give you, or however it is that you're surviving when you come back to yourself, it's odd. It is what it is. But the beauty of it was coming back. And like I said, everything that I remember, coupled with what other people tell me, it links up. You know what I'm saying? So I know what is and what wasn't. After I came to and was back to myself and they took me off the ventilator, I spent another 10 or 12 days in the hospital, coming back to myself and realizing that I was going to now need physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and just learn how to do everything all over again. And the one question I never had, though, Carol, was I going to sing again? It never came to my mind. I knew I had no power. I knew I had no, you know, I didn't have anything that could make me speak loud or you know, whatever. And I had, like I said, I was moving real slow and trying to figure out A and B and C, but it never dawned on me that, you know, something could have happened, or, you know, there were tubes everywhere, and it never, ever. At any rate, I came home and I decided that I was going to take from January to April to see if I felt that I would be ready to get back into my world. And like I said, I had the physical therapy, and I was playing fake keyboard, getting my fingers and toes back together and learning. We take so much for granted with this thing that God has created as a body. We think we wink because we want to wink, or we suck our teeth because we want to suck our teeth, or we go, girl, please, child. Everything that we do, every smallest motion comes from a message in your brain. And it's like a conductor. If that music is not laid out correctly and played correctly, it's going to be a hot mess.
Or it won't happen.
And it's not going to sound right. So all of those things I had to relearn. And right around April, in my book, I already had 2 small gigs that were there. And to tell you the truth, it was a godsend again to have those as like a little proofing ground to see, you know, how you know, what it was going to be like. One of those situations was I had to go to do a Mistress of Ceremonies gig for the National R&B Music Society, and I'm a founding member. Every year they have a gala. On my way to Atlantic City, I had to stop in Reading, Pennsylvania for a meeting for an artist that was performing at Berks Jazz Festival.
Wait, I want to stop you right there.
Oh,
I want to stop you right there because we have to take a commercial break. Family,
look
at me. Here we go again. Let me tell you something.
Y'all
when she and I get together, when we get together, this is what happens. For those of you who are unaware, for those of you who are just finding out, she and I, this is what it is. It's ongoing. It's nonstop. This is called love. Okay. But stay with us because Alyson is going to finish telling us about her testimony and this incredible story that she's sharing with us. We will be right back.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner.
No? Excellent. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. I love you!
And is this with the doctor or is this with the nurse practitioner? Fantastic. Dad, lunch. Got some soup for you.
You are loved.
Oh, you. Look at those freckles.
This was very much.
You are valued. You are strong. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early, when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Hey, boss. Okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
I said I'm fine.
Since I was little, it was only like me and my parents.
You think you created family out of characters?
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna take that, make it into a song.
Me the babe, see you in the morning. With the frosted, Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. Where you at, on the way out. In my head, in my head, in my head.
Jason.
Hey, Bob.
Talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, progressive Black talk media on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. We are joined by none other than ALYSON WILLIAMS, the one and only. And she was in the midst of a story of telling us and sharing with us before I had to cut her off yet again. So please do continue.
Well, Carol, I believe that I was speaking into the first time that I heard my voice on an actual world-class sound system after having been in a coma, after having been in rehab and my physical therapy and so on and so forth. And Najee was performing at Berks Jazz, and I had to go through there on my way to other destinations. And he said, well, why don't you come on and do a number with us? And he had himself and Christopher Walker and Bobby Lyles and, all the other wonderful musicians, Kevin Robinson and his whole band. And it was my honor. But it wasn't until I think I stood on the stage and they began to play the song, very impromptu, which would have not been a big deal. I mean, that's what we do as musicians. But when I opened my mouth, I realized that I was hearing myself for the first time, along with this incredible audience. And it was a little, it was taped. Someone filmed it, and you could hear me kind of tremble in the moment because I didn't know what was coming out, and I was just glad that it was something recognizable and clear, and the audience loved it. And so it was after that, Najee said, we're releasing the new single, the new album rather, Savoir Faire, and it looks as if radio has been choosing your single, your song, along with the songs that we've sent in as potential singles. So it may be good if you come out on the road and shine a little more light on the song. It's beginning to do chart numbers and things like that. So maybe if we can get some traction and get these dates done next year, speaking into 2023 at that time, he said maybe we can get the promoters to look into a package that could be Najee and ALYSON WILLIAMS, taking you from a special guest to having your own slot. So that is where we are now and what we've been doing. And I just am always so eternally grateful for someone who would look into a situation and say, this will give you a chance to continue to do what it is that you do. This will give you a chance to realize some finance. This will give you a chance to strengthen yourself. This will give people a chance to see you and see that you are well and restored, and that you have new music in the world, and all of these things that came about because of his generosity and his mindset to move forward and have forward motion. So shout out to Najee.
Absolutely. We love Najee.
Actually an angel as well on earth. And So we it started out in that was April, May, June. Around July is when I first started working, actually going out. And I think we had dates here and there. He said, I can't take you on every day, but he had 15 dates at the time. He gave me 8. Come on, that's half your tour. It's amazing. And by the time we got to the fall, he just started putting up more dates on top of me. Just go, are you available next week? Are you available the week after that? Are you available? So it came on down to almost Thanksgiving. Then we took our little hiatus for the holidays and came back. Once again, I had no idea that he'd be able to have me, but we went on out to the West Coast and started the year out there, and have more dates coming for all your listeners and viewers. And all you have to do is go to Najee Official, and you'll see those dates. And if you go to ALYSON WILLIAMS Music on Facebook and all those other platforms, you'll see the dates coming up. And I'm just so excited.
Wait, I want to stop there. ALYSON WILLIAMS Music, is that .com? Is that .net? Is it just
ALYSON WILLIAMS Music .com is in reboot right now, but that is the website, ALYSONWilliamsMusic.com. ALYSON Williams on Twitter, ALYSON WILLIAMS Music on Instagram, ALYSON WILLIAMS Music on Facebook.
Got it. I
can't wait to grow up and be just like you, because you got social media platforms covered, girl. No. I don't know how you do it, who does it for you, whatever it is, but you have a deal with the social media gods, girl, in terms of just how it's set up. And we're working diligently, when the new year came in to put, I was able to put a team together, and we're working on all of that good stuff. But, I just wanted people to understand that this COVID thing and things like diabetes and so on and so forth, they do not see color, they do not see gender, they do not see I am shiny and I'm a performer, a noteworthy celebrity. It comes down on you, and we have to be proactive in our quest for health and taking care of ourselves, because it affects everybody.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. What kind of restrictions do you have while traveling as a result of having type 2 diabetes?
Well, the thing with diabetes is that you have to, you find yourself eating on a schedule. And watching for sugar spikes or sugar drops. So therefore, your timing has to be in alignment to get your meals in and give your system a chance to process the insulin or whatever medication you might be on, and like I said, keep you from spiking too high or dropping too low. So the whole day, every day is a restriction. You ask me what kind of restriction I have. Everything I do is a restriction. And I just try to make it happen, because anything can happen. You can expect to say, okay, I've had breakfast, and maybe 4 or 5 hours will go by and I will be in the next city and I can get lunch or whatever. But suppose something happens and you get stuck in that airport, or suppose something happens that plane is delayed, and you don't you're not able to get a meal in, or the proper kind of meal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Now that's the question that I have. So what would be the proper kind of meal, or what do you do in those instances when you're stuck?
Well, you want to make sure that you're not taking in too many carbs and too many unnecessary sugars. So you count things, and you're counting, and you're reading labels, and you're being, diligent of that. Okay. I found that it's not having big giant meals, but decent, like your breakfast should be maybe your largest meal, and then small meals in between. Okay. But watching, like I said, watching what you consume. I think people feel like, and it is different for each and every person, which is what folks, when you go to delve into what the disease is, it's not going to be the same for me as it is for another woman of a different age, or a man of a different ethnic background. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the diet is a key situation, but like with anything, healthy greens, vegetables, moderation, you know what I'm saying? If I never have another piece of cake or pie during my lifetime, I've had enough. But you know what I'm saying? I just have to know that if I have to have a taste of pie, I think I've been taught that denying yourself is what makes you go bad.
But that makes sense.
If I can't have ice cream the way I want it, but I can have sorbet. And I got to watch that portion. I got to watch when I have it. And I have to remember when I had it so I don't put anything else in the system that's going to, it's all about knowing how to move in parts move and what you can and cannot do and keeping and being diligent, you know, and what have you. But
that's
like
called
I said,
life, though. That's called life. We do that in
all
life
right.
with everything.
And then the thing about it is being an artist, our hours are different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a person that wakes up. I might get up at 7 in the morning, but I'm not moving around and trying to, you know, put a pot on the stove and do oatmeal or eggs and bacon. I don't move like that. My day is on a later clock, but then again, the clock goes into late night as well. Right. So it's kind of weird, you know, to get the right sleep and exercise and all those other things. And but it's a journey, and I'm on it, and so far so good. And it keeps me on point, you know, for myself when I'm on the road. I find, because the road is regimen. I know people look at it and say, "Oh, you fly from city to city and just popping up." The road is regimen, and regimen plays a big part in what have you, in what you're doing. You know, I also want to mention, Carol. You know, when we were talking, and I was here last time, and I wanted to talk about the testimony and how, you know, now every day I look at life through a different lens, because this time last year, going into April, you know, just coming back into a norm. I'm just happy to be. That's it. Be what? Be. Fill in the blank. But I come into this season now celebrating or being a part of a celebration that I didn't even realize was here. I don't think any of us realized until they put it in the press. This is the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. And of course, I've been a part of the hip hop scene since we were calling it rap. You know, before hip hop became a word in our vernacular. And people obviously know me as an R&B artist, because that's how I made my bones. And some people know me as a jazz singer, which is where I come from. But to know that I honed my craft singing on some of the most important records that laid the foundation for there to be a hip hop. So I'm glad to be, you know, able to stand and say, you know, Love Bug Starsky with You Gotta Believe and Do the Right Thing, and If I Rule the World, Fat Boys are back. They're playing basketball. All those records are records that I, you know, co-created as a vocalist, arranging and so on and so forth, contracting. It was a really wonderful time of my life, being a studio session singer, and now to have it come full circle, celebrating 50 years of hip hop, and knowing that there wouldn't be hip hop without that music.
There sure wouldn't. Oh my goodness, you are all over. You are in the fabric. You are in the quilt.
Yeah.
You are all over the quilt.
I'd certainly have a square. I know that.
What? Oh my goodness, you're in the thread that moves through the squares, plural. Let's say that.
Come on now, speaking now, I like that. I'm in the thread.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Pun intended, thread. You know.
Hello.
We deal with threads every day with these feeds and threads.
Yes, thread. Yes, pun intended. I want to. There's so much. Family, let me go back to this. If you've just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. We are talking with none other than ALYSON WILLIAMS, our beloved. And we've gotten a glimpse, I will say that, of her testimony, because I'm still digesting when she said that her eyes were like glass and she was very well aware of everything that was going on. But, you know, here her body was still, her body wasn't, you know, they were still trying to get the two in alignment. You know, that just stuns me, because I mean, I know it to be real. And, you know, we've heard different people say that at times, but to see you thriving again, to see you looking as if, there wasn't a beat that was skipped, missed, overlooked, jumped, or anything. I mean, and I'm saying this, family, because we've been out here working and we've been seeing each other at the various and different venues. We're like, hey, mama, we get our kisses.
Hi,
and then
yes,
and then we go run and do what it is we are there to do. But to see you, to hear you, it fills my heart. It really, really does. Because I was in that prayer group. I was, I was making the phone calls like, okay, so do we have an update? Does anybody know anything now? Is there anything else that has been shared? Any change or anything like that? I was doing that, making those calls and trying to get updates. And it feels so good to see you, to be able to hug you and to be able to receive a hug in return from you. That feels amazing. Family, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to talk about your life in radio as well, because
absolutely,
yes, we want to share with our family members. So family, stay with us, okay, because we will be right back.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
A lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURD radio.com. We are joined with our beloved ALYSON Williams. And before the break, I asked her if she would talk with us about her life in radio. So please do share everything about it. Like, when did you get into radio? What was your
Well, Carol, when I left high school, I found myself really, really frustrated. I was out. I didn't want to do 4 years. I needed to matriculate, and I took that test, and I was out of there 3 years. Got to go. I was done with school. But the good thing was the very kind teachers and nuns at Sacred Heart of Mary found that they could find me a scholarship. And I ended up at Marymount Manhattan College, and I had a major in dance. I had a dance scholarship, and my second major was communications, broadcast. Although they did not have broadcast, they had journalism. At that time, I was not smart enough to realize, ALYSON, just go through the journalism classes. You'll get to where you want to go. Because in my mind, I felt if I could do the communications thing, radio and television, I would be keeping myself in alignment with what my real goal was, which was a career in show business, in as a recording artist. As we may or may not know, if you, I came up in an era where we listened to radio. We heard our DJs. Our DJs were just as big as stars as the stars themselves. Our DJs had relationships with stars. They were either interviewing them or going and hosting their shows. They were backstage and they were on stage. And so I felt that if I could get myself into that area, then that would ensure me to be in the right circle. Sure. If I weren't able to walk in the front door, there was going to be a side door, a back door. I could walk in with a microphone. Okay. And so I always wanted to do the radio and television anchor kind of situation, or be a part of that. And it never left me. I was very fortunate to have professors that saw the potential. I remember I had one journalism class, and the teacher said to me, he said, "Listen, you're a good student, Alice. I know that this is not really what you want. I know you wanted to go about it a different way, but this is what we're going to do, because I need you to get your papers in. I need you to do the work. Every time you have this class, we're going to end 10 minutes early. We're going to pull up the blinds and turn off the lights, and you're going to sing whatever you want to sing."
Wow.
And he would allow the students, and they would pick out songs. They would come with their songs available, sing this, sing that. And I would stand in front of the class and I would sing. And that's how he kept me engaged, kept me coming to that class, and kept me, going forward so that I could get the grades I needed and what have you. So when you have, people who rally around you like that because they see what it is, they see that potential in you. Luckily, when I did come into my own as a recording artist, of course, we have to go to radio to promote our singles and our performances and the plays or whatever we're doing. And I would never want to go in and just be the interviewed person. I always wanted to be, I said, give me some copy. Let me read some, I'm on local news. or let me do the time, or let me do the weather, or let me talk about an event that's. I never wanted to just sit there and be interviewed. So that became a running joke. I wouldn't do the interview if you wouldn't let me do something. So that kept me honing my craft. You know what I'm saying? And
I sure
engaging.
do.
And then when I was traveling with the plays, you know, you would get in town on a Monday and you would run from Tuesday to Sunday, and we had to go in very early, and the whole cast would be there, and they'd be like, "Oh, Allyson, you go ahead and be the spokesperson." And then what would happen is, I can remember being at the WGCI in Chicago, and you know, you had Doug Banks and you had Tom Joyner, the Fly Jacket. Sometimes those guys wouldn't be in, and they would pull from the world of comedy or different ones to come in and kind of take over and do their shows. And a couple of times I went through, and the people, the audience, the listeners, started calling in, and that made the program director call me and said, "Listen, I know you're going to be here for the whole week. Can you come in and fill in, because they really love you and they love your energy and they just want you to." So that let me know, Allyson, never let go of that thing that you want to do when it comes to radio and broadcast. And so that went on back and forth, and that was the norm. And then one day I was in New York City and at an event, and a lady that I call my godmother, one of my music industry godmothers, came to me, and she said, "Allyson, have you ever thought about?" I met her through Benny Ashburn when I was an intern, and now, and if I could think of her name, I would be the best person ever, and I could see her face. But Jeannie, what's Jeannie's last name? Oh God, Jean Parnell. Anyway, she came to me, and she had a long-running show on WHCR, which is Harlem Community Radio. And she asked me if I had ever thought about having a show. And actually, in my mind, I had thought about it, but I didn't know how to go about it. You know, and I was deep into something else. And she said, "You know, they're filling some slots over there. I'm going to talk to the program director and see if there's a chance that you might come over there." And one thing led to another. And shout out to Jean Parnell. I was able to go over to WHCR and start out with one night, 1 hour. And I was really excited, and you know, it was just a blessing and a joy to be able to go in my phone and pull out, you know, everyone from the up and coming to the legendary, and have this show called Love Notes in the Chill Zone. Now, Love Notes is, you know, because I love notes, because I love music, love notes, but also it's a throwback. Like I said, I'm an old school girl. When you used to pass those notes, and the note would say, "Do you like me?" Check A, check B, check C, maybe. You know, it's that kind of innocence, that kind of love. Do you know what I'm saying? And being in the chill zone, you know, was another place I wanted to be. So it's Love Notes with Allyson Williams in the chill zone on WHCR 90.3 FM. They are the voice of Harlem, and we air on Tuesdays. And now I have 2 hours from 8 to 10. And I'm so proud to say that on March 28th, the Tuesday that is coming, to close out Women's History Month, I will be having you, Carol Riddick, as my guest.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity, because we are coming to the end of the show. Family,
not again.
I know, yet again. Family, I must make you aware that you can see Allyson live, okay, here in Philadelphia at South on Thursday, March 30th. She has 2 shows, and you already know I'm going to be there. So come on.
7 and 9. We need you to come on out.
Okay. You already know. I will be there, having the cornbread that I should not have, but will enjoy. Okay. But will enjoy. So let's be clear about that. But I want to make sure that you all know where to find Allyson. Before we shut down and before we close out, I'm going to ask Allyson to repeat once again her social media handles so that you can find her there as well. And what are they? What would they be?
We're Allyson Williams Music on Facebook, Allyson Williams Music on Instagram, and Allyson Williams on Twitter. And look, and getting ready to get all that other stuff, the TikTok and the TikTok block, all
everybody. We're gonna get it all together
when I grow up.
You know, don't you do it? Don't you do it?
I'm just saying,
family. You hear this? This is what we do. But listen, this is what I want to say to you, because you know I tell you this every single show. As we wrap up tonight's episode, we extend our gratitude to you, family, for your continued support and your love of love and life. Special thanks to you, Alyson Williams, our beloved, for sharing your time, your energy, and your attention with us. Thank you, family, to the entire WURD family. You know, I'd say this to you every single show because I want you to know it. We are all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you. Family, have a great night, have a great morning, and have a great rest of your day. But be sure to join us midnight, Sunday through Thursday, for another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Stand with WURD Radio, Pennsylvania's only black-owned talk radio station. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the black community. Show your support. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today at WURDradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia.